It's the Decatur Makers Podcast. Hey, it's Maureen Haley.
It's Char Miller-King.
It's Kevin Arne.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
Welcome.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting from the only place in Decatur where you can make anything from a birdhouse to a photon beam flux capacitor thingy thing. It's the Decatur Makers Hour.
Hey everybody, it's the Decatur Makers Podcast team back again, Maureen, Kevin, and Char. Today, we are talking about Workbench Con. If you have not heard of Workbench Con, A, you must live under a rock, or B, I don't know. You would have had to have heard about Workbench Con if you're a woodworker, if you're a maker, if you're a blogger, DIYer. Anyway, I'll get into the details. So Workbench Con is a 3-day conference that takes place in Atlanta, Georgia. I think this is the 3rd or 4th year that they've done it. It's for woodworkers, makers, bloggers, DIYers, people who just want to spend a weekend out of their house with other people and talk about screws and nails and their spouse doesn't fall asleep. Oh, that's just me. Anyway, it's taking place at the Renaissance Waverly Hotel near Cumberland, and it is a 3-day jam-packed party session of all things making. Jimmy DeResta will be there. Izzy Swan will be there. Kevin Arne will be there.
Well, yeah.
All the cool people are coming, basically. Right?
That's a quite a group to group me in with. I don't know that I deserve that.
I heard that Char Miller-King was going to be there too, so get your tickets.
I may possibly make a guest appearance there.
Oh.
So let me tell you some of the sessions that are taking place so you can kind of get an idea of who this event is for. We'll be talking about the evolution of epoxy, balancing life and work. I wonder who's doing that one.
It's Char.
Oh, what? Navigating brands as a micro-influencer, learning about hand tools, sales and marketing as a maker, passive income streams. I mean, I could keep going. So there are sessions for people who are just getting started with making and they want to know more about it, for the seasoned maker, for people who are trying to be celebrity makers. If you are into this, this is a place you want to be for the weekend. I promise you. If you're not there, you are going to have FOMO. You're gonna feel like you're missing out for sure. But Kevin and I are gonna post a bunch of stuff to our stories.
Yep.
And go ahead, Kevin.
You mean during the conference or before?
During.
During? Oh, you're gonna
Sorry.
Yeah, lots of selfies with famous people.
Cool.
Exactly. So
When is it?
It's February 20th through the 22nd. So it's next Thursday.
Oh man.
And Thursday night, we are having a maker meetup party that me and a couple of other makers got together to host, and we had people donate really cool items, and one of our donors is actually Kevin. I mean, Kevin is just all over this thing. I mean, he's
I'm not giving a talk. You're the one giving a talk.
I'm just trying to pass the time. I like talking. I don't know if anybody ever listens, but I do like talking. So we're having this big party. Everybody's invited. It's the place to be on Thursday night. We'll be giving out a ton of cool gifts to one lucky person. And then on Saturday, I will be sitting on a panel about work-life balance and how I manage to actually make a project and get it done and feed my family every day, which is terribly difficult. I'm not really sure how it happens. But I'll be sitting on the panel with some other really cool people who either homeschool their kids or they have like a bazillion followers and they have children. And I know a lot of people want to know exactly how do you do that? How do you divide your time? You love your children, you love making. Do you neglect one to take care of the other? Is there any balance? I don't think there is actually a balance. I think you just have to make it all work and really lean on your support system. For example, I had something on the laser engraver one day, and I have got to pick those twins of mine up by lunch, and my print was not done. And Kevin was nice enough to watch it for me until I went to get the twins. So it's a community like that that you need in order to live the life that you want to live as a maker. Because as you know, some of us, if we don't make, we're not happy. If we're not building, we're depressed. And I have to build. It helps keep me sane. So if I don't, then I don't know, just go ahead and send me to the insane asylum. You guys agree?
Absolutely. I love that take, that community is how to be a maker. Not just for what you learn there, but just the soft skills you can rely on other people for too. In other words, Kevin is the key to work-life balance.
Basically.
Now, you guys know that I have to be able to walk out my door of my apartment at the end of this, right? Like, my head needs to not be that big.
He watches my kids for me.
That might be extreme. I get chastised for eating pizza every day by your kids.
Well, you should have seen them at the grocery store today trying to buy gummies and candy.
Oh,
Chastise
all right.
them, naughty little things. But Kevin, I want to talk about why you decided to go to the conference. As this is your first year,
Right.
and what you hope to get out of it.
So that's a good question. I think first of all, I'd like to get to know some of the people that are in that community. I know I've seen them from afar on YouTube and all of that, and I really want to start making those connections, both because I think it'll benefit me and because it'll benefit the space to have that sort of visibility. Which, by the way, if we can get any of them to stop by Decatur Makers, like on Sunday, that would be awesome. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I'm always looking to improve my skills. My skills as a maker, trying to, have a side hustle that involves making. So a lot of the ones that I've chosen to go see are ones that are dealing with like advertising in business or building business through sales and marketing is one of the ones I'm planning on going to. And so I'm really excited about learning a lot and making great connections. I think I'm going to have to get over my fear of actually talking to strangers. Or maybe my name tag will be flashy enough that they'll talk to me instead of having to go the other way around.
Are you going to wear your lighted, or do you have a special workbench?
I have a lighted one, but you know what? I may actually have time to make a specific one for Workbench Con, because one of the things we're giving away, as Char alluded to, is a name tag that's, instead of it being a Decatur Makers one, it's a generic one. So it just has a plate that you could engrave whatever you want onto, and connect it all together. So when you order circuit boards, you don't just get one, you get 10 or so. And I guess I could make one that actually has like the WorkbenchCon logo on it and all that cool stuff. So might have to do that.
Yeah, that would be neat.
That would be cool.
You've
Or you
gone
could give them
to it?
away.
You've gone to it before, Char?
Yes. So I went last year,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know. I knew maybe 10 people that I had
Yeah.
chatted with on
Pretty
social media before. I'd never met. And I mean, I was a little nervous being in that space because I didn't know anybody. I was like still new to social media. I hadn't really made anything cool in a while. I don't even know if I had started teaching woodshop yet. But man, what a difference a year makes. What a oh, I can't even tell you the number of opportunities that have come from attending Workbench Conference. I'll just quickly go over a few. And this is not to toot my own horn. The only reason why I'm sharing this is to say, if there is an opportunity to be had, go after that opportunity. To not be afraid to go into a space that you've never been into before. Put your best self forward. Mostly everybody else there is probably just as apprehensive and nervous as you are, because a lot of people do come by themselves and they haven't met any of the people in real life that they've chatted with on Instagram, but just showing up and being present can open up so many doors and windows for you. So after Workbench Con, which was last February, the organizers contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in speaking on a panel at Haven Conference. Haven Conference is the sister conference to Workbench Con. It's for like your interior decorators, designers, DIYers. So completely different like atmosphere. Workbench Con is flannel shirts and jeans. Haven is like high heels and dresses. And I was like, oh no, I don't have any dresses or any high heels. What am I going to do? All I have is this dirty apron with sawdust on it. And I have to do my hair and put on makeup. So anyway, I sat on this panel. It was about side hustles because all these people blog. I have a blog, but you know, it doesn't generate revenue really. But my side hustle is teaching. You know, I do a lot of other things for income. They're all legal, by the way. You know, my kids are watching me all the time. So I got this opportunity to speak at Haven, and that went over really well. As a result of being at Haven, Still was there. Still came up to me and asked me if they can work with me. I said, sure. So they sent me a chainsaw with all of the gear. So I'm like, okay, cool. I will rep for Still if you want me to. I also made a couple of connections to do collaborations. And for those of you who aren't familiar with collaborations, how it generally works is one blogger will reach out to another blogger and have them create a project for them that they can put on their blog, and they will in turn generate the plans and pay you for building said project, and you get to keep the project. So I was able to connect with some people there that I could collaborate with on some things in the future. And then look what else happened. I got to speak at this year's conference, which I'm not even sure how those dots connected. And I can't wait till the next podcast because something really big is going to happen for me as a result of being at Workbench Con. So I can't wait to share that with you guys.
Oh, teaser.
I know.
But the next podcast, that's like after Workbench Con, right?
Yes. And we will have so much to say.
Hopefully.
So, tune in. That's
So,
right.
Maureen, if you could go to a conference geared to your interests, what type of conference would that be?
Wow. Tricky question. Well, I do like electronics, and I'm kind of fascinated by the animatronic stuff now. So if there was one that did like Halloween decorations and talking skulls and things like that, and then somehow made it about medicine, that would be right up my alley.
That can be a thing. You should make that happen. Totally.
Hey, you're right. I'll do it. Yeah. Why not? Put it out there. Make it happen.
Well,
Animatronics and medicine.
For electronics, there's a really cool conference called Hackaday SuperCon.
Right.
Which is pretty exciting, and I get the impression that they're big on pretty much anything you can do with electronics, including animatronics and scary stuff.
Yeah, I love to watch the video people do, like go to the 3D printing conferences and go to the electronics conferences. It's kind of like watching a movie, though. I do enjoy watching it from my living room versus walking around. So, I don't know. How about you, Kevin? I guess Workbench is right up your alley.
Yeah, lately I have been getting a lot more into electronics and like the slightly more hardcore electronics, like designing my own boards and all of that. So I do think the Hackaday SuperCon is probably one I'd like to go to some point. I'd love to go to DEF CON at some point, but that kind of intimidates the heck out of me at the moment. That's for like security stuff, so cybersecurity
really?
and all that.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're interesting. They have hardware hacking and lock picking and all sorts of stuff that I probably shouldn't admit to finding interesting in a public forum.
Where is that? Seems like that should be in Nevada or something. Maybe
Yeah,
New
I'm pretty
Mexico.
sure
Like
DEF
near
CON is
Area 51.
Yeah.
it's actually in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
DEF CON is, so
See?
Out in the desert.
yeah, they have to brief all of their hotel staff to say stuff like, don't accept a free phone from anybody, don't bring your phone from home because they will get hacked, like don't plug in any USB dongles that you find laying around, they probably have bad stuff on them. So they're an interesting crowd.
Oh, we're getting to know the real Kevin.
That's right.
I like it.
I have many interests.
A conference with a little danger in it. That sounds appealing.
Yeah.
It does. Oh, I have to
Just
tell
like-
you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like your ideal conference landed in your backyard.
Well, tell me about it. I just hope I can actually leverage more out of it this year. I'm also going to Wood Magazine's conference in Des Moines, Iowa
Ooh.
in May. They reached out to me and asked if I could be a content creator for them, which basically means I get to talk to sponsors and take pictures with their tools and post them.
Oh, neat.
So that is that's one of the many great opportunities that I have coming up. And what I like about being invited to things like this is traditionally these type of conferences have one demographic. If you go to Wood Magazine's website to their annual conference and you look at the pictures, everyone looks exactly the same. So the first thing I said was, I am getting in the center of whatever picture they take in May. That is going to be hilarious. But what I think is happening is a lot of these companies and a lot of these brands are realizing that their original target audience is getting older. They're aging out of this hobby, out of this craft. And that
Out of
is
this world.
yeah. Just keep it real, right? And they want to, they notice that younger people, minorities are getting more involved with making and tinkering, and that they need to capture that while it's hot. So I'll take it for whatever reason. I'll take it. I'm happy to represent and be a face and be chatty on Instagram about it. So that's not until the end of May, but there's some other really cool stuff happening before that. I can't wait to tell you. That might be in Vegas too.
Ooh.
Vegas. We have to relocate our podcast to Vegas.
I know. You go, what is that noise? Oh, just the slot machines.
Oh, man. Yeah, what's the guy on the Making It show? Do you watch that show with
Jimmy
Amy
DeResta?
Poehler? No, Amy Poehler and
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman is the face of the demographic. That's who that's the face that came to mind. Sort of the bearded guy, older, Caucasian.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate.
Adjust your camera filters, folks.
Yeah. But it will be good. It'll be good to meet some of the people that I've admired for a long time that have been doing this for 30 to 50 years. Like, they know pretty much everything about the craft. So I'm always looking to gain more knowledge for one reason and one reason only, to share it with other people.
That's pretty cool. Did your parents do any sort of woodworking or anything?
No.
The reason I asked that's because when we did some interviews for the space, and a lot of people said that's how they got into it. Like their grandfather used to do woodworking. That's how they got into it, or something like that.
My father, who passed away 2 years ago, he actually used to make furniture from mirrors. So he would make these really cool mirror doll houses.
Yeah. And
like home decor. Yeah, he had his own business. He put me through private school with it.
No kidding.
Yeah. So he was really talented at it. I have an uncle who is a carpenter who's really, really good, and I did some work with him when I was young. But I just come from a family of, we're going to do it ourselves. So it's just sort of in me to do that. And yeah, I wish that I had gotten deeper into it when I was younger. But I did take a break for like 10 years to start my family. But I'm back. I hope the kids are okay. I don't hear anybody.
Yeah. The ties aren't swaying in the background.
I know, right? No
you.
one slid a note under the door.
Did you have that, Kevin? Did you have like your parents or grandparents or a family tradition of woodworking, or?
Not really. I mean, my father has a little workshop that I still use from time to time. He doesn't do much work in it and hasn't ever really done a ton. But every once in a while he would do a project or two, like make some shelves or something like that. But I mean, he and I definitely did the usual like pine wood derby stuff when I was younger. But
right.
Nothing where like he was welding or 3D printing. I mean, obviously 3D printing only recently became a big thing, but yeah, not too much. He was much more intellectuals on the scale of intellectual or making stuff, which is a totally false dichotomy. Sorry, not meaning to imply that people who make stuff are not intellectuals.
Right.
But yeah.
What about you, Maureen?
I personally wasn't. I have 5 brothers, so they were always in it wasn't so much making as it was taking things apart or repairing. My dad was an electrical engineer, and they were always and my older brothers were fascinated by engines and cars. They were that was, before there were computers, that's what people tinkered with. And now we spend all day in upgrading our software. But same brothers still spend a lot of time working with their computers. But I personally did not do a lot of that. And it was only later when I was trying to learn to do some coding or learn to code, from online classes, that I got into making. And it's like when you walk through the door and the room is huge, Mm-hmm. There's so many different areas you can go and tools you can learn to use. So yeah, it's my journey, I guess. Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up for all things Workbench Con.
Yeah.
We'll check back in afterwards.
Oh, you gave us such a teaser.
I know. that means that everybody will come back and listen.
Absolutely.
To hear what happened and how cool it was. We'll give a detailed report analysis.
Oh, I can't wait. And so they can actually meet you guys in person at Workbench Con, both you and Kevin. I don't think I might be there on Saturday, but I know it won't be there earlier in the week.
Well, we hope to see you there.
Yeah. Hey, if someone wants to get a ticket, do they have to buy a ticket or?
Yeah, so you can go online to Workbench Conference or workbenchcon.com. I think the tickets are close to $500 or $600.
Yeah, they're pricey.
For the weekend.
Nice.
But that includes a really dope swag bag. All your meals are taken care of. And the venue is really nice. The venues just keep getting better and better.
Cool.
So come out. If you're in Atlanta, come by next week. Check us out. Check everybody out. Learn something. Make something. Do something different.
Should be fun.
All righty. That'll do it for this podcast. So, all right, makers, get out there and make it good.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.